Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days. For today's second video, it's taken us to around the 8th of October. So we're going into the end of the first week of the month. That's coming up. Earlier on today, we released the month ahead look ahead with Japanese and CFS V2 models. You can find January Friday here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit and it's above the weather alert section. As I say, that's taking us pretty much to the end of October actually, and it does look as though we could be in for a fairly cool month to be honest. But have a look at that and see what you think. This one's going to take us through the next week to 10 days, actually a little bit beyond that in terms of the GFS, which extends out to kind of like 2 weeks. So I'll go back for you very shortly. We're going to start off though by having a look at what's happening in the tropical Atlantic. So we've got Tropical Storm Kirk down here in the tropics going into the Caribbean. At the moment, Kirk is getting 50 mile an hour sustained winds, gusts probably up to 70 or 80 miles an hour. A lot of heavy rain with Kirk as well. The forecast from the National Hurricane Center for Kirk is from its current position moving further westward into the tropical Caribbean, going down to a depression, a tropical depression tomorrow, and then presumably going subtropical after that. So it looks like Kirk will be weakening in the next 24 hours from a tropical storm to a tropical depression. We also have this red X up here in the central part of the Atlantic Ocean, a long, long way away from the Caribbean. Let's see what they're saying about that one. So it's disturbance 1. Post-tropical cyclone Leslie is located over the central Atlantic Ocean, several hundred miles west of the Azores. Shower activity has gradually increased near the centre of the cyclone since last night, and Leslie is expected to once again become a subtropical storm later today or tomorrow. Earlier satellite data indicated that the powerful low is producing storm force winds that extend several hundred miles from the centre. And Leslie will likely continue producing strong winds and high seas over a large portion of the central Atlantic in the next few days, regardless of when it completes its transition to a subtropical storm. For more information on this system, see high seas forecast issued by the National Weather Service. It's got a 90% chance of becoming a subtropical storm in the next 2 days, and a 90% chance of doing so in the next 5 days as well. So that's one to keep an eye on. It's already producing storm force winds, they're saying, and it's going to strengthen further over the next couple of days by the look of it. So Leslie will be one to keep a close eye on. Right, coming back close to home means of a GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. You're looking at Manchester, northwest of England today. Starting off pretty cool, actually. Temperatures do lift up a little bit over the weekend in terms of the upper air temperatures, but it'll stay really quite cool, really, down on the surface. And generally pretty cool, actually, through to the early part of next week. Into next week, we do see the ensembles lifting up for a day or so through the early part of next week. Then again, another drop coming through during the second half of next week. No sign of any particular sustained warm or hot pattern coming up in the next couple of weeks. Overall, it looks like the temperatures are trending rather cool. Remember, this is from the northwest of England, so it might not be representative somewhere like London, but really no sign of anything desperately warm coming up through the first half of October, and it looks like, if anything, temperatures could be a little bit on the cool side very often. As far as precipitation is concerned, plenty of dry weather coming up, sort of like for the next week, but the rainfall spikes are increasing here as we're going into the second week of October. It's been trending quite a bit within the model output lately, but this second week of October might turn more unsettled. We saw evidence of it with Jeremy Friday earlier on today, actually, but after a reasonably anticyclonic start to October, we may get this transition to something more unsettled, and we might be seeing that within the shorter range model output as well. Temperature anomalies from the 28th of September to 6th of October are coming out a little bit cooler than average in most parts of the UK and Ireland. Actually, it looks like a rather cool scene throughout much of Northern and Central Europe, actually. So really just Spain and Portugal, but are substantially warmer than average, and I suppose over towards Turkey as well. But to be honest, many parts of Europe are coming out with either average or slightly cooler than average temperature anomalies in the weekend. Precipitation anomalies, those show that it's still dry than average, particularly for England and Wales. This is the precipitation anomaly from the 28th of September to 6th of October. Generally drier than average, particularly so for England and Wales. As far as America's concerned, much of the states warmer than average in the weekend. This is, again, 28th of September, 6th of October in terms of the temperature anomaly. Most states away from these very far northern states near the Canadian border are coming out with a warmer than average temperature anomaly in the week ahead. And if I just very quickly flip you over to the precipitation anomaly for America, we can see that it's a bit of a mixed bag. Actually, it looks very wet down in the southwestern part of the state, which is quite unusual. Places like Nevada there and New Mexico, some parts of Southern California also coming out with substantially wetter than average precipitation anomalies. Over towards the southeastern parts of the states, it actually looks quite dry for these southern southeastern states. Up to the north, varying from state to state, some of the states, particularly the Pacific Northwest, a bit drier than average. Over towards the Midwest, we're coming out a little bit wetter than average up there. But the most unusual thing about that is that very wet anomaly that's down in the far southwestern states, including states that would normally be very dry, such as New Mexico and Nevada, Southern California. That is very unusual to see that, to say the least. Talking of very unusual things happening, we've got a Medicane in the eastern part of Mediterranean. So just have a look at that very quickly. This is the GFS chart for today. This area of low pressure down here in this southeastern part of the Mediterranean, kind of like between sort of Italy and Greece in Mediterranean Sea. That is an area of low pressure that is called a Medicane because it does have sort of hurricane type characteristics, although it isn't a hurricane, of course. But they can be pretty intense, these areas of low pressure that we call Medicanes. And you can see that the precipitation forecast here has a classic sort of swirl of rain, of precipitation wrapped around that area of low pressure. You can kind of like see the hurricane type characteristic that you get with these areas of low pressure. As we go into tomorrow, this area of low pressure, Medicane, is heading into Greece, and there's some very intense colours in with that as well, indicating really torrential rain is going to be taking place for some parts of Greece tomorrow. Again, you notice the circulation around that low. In fact, it does almost look like there's kind of like an eye there in the middle of the precipitation. So very hurricane-like, tropical storm-like features, even if it's not actually a hurricane. But it certainly has those sort of characteristics. And you can see a little bit of an eye there right in the centre of the precipitation, which is just telling us that it's a very intense area of low pressure indeed. It'll probably be producing gale or severe gale force winds, and there'll be a lot of heavy rain in that as well. So if you know anyone that's on holiday in Greece, they're going to have quite a wet time of it over this weekend. That area of low pressure kind of like loses that Medicane look as we get through to Sunday, as it moves further on into Greece and actually starts to head over towards Turkey. We lose that circulation as the low pressure that's bringing that Medicane is kind of like weakening away. So really lively weekend coming up down in Greece this weekend with that Medicaid. For us, this weekend is going to be relatively quiet, but we will bring a cold front down across the country through the weekend. That's going to introduce more and more cloud, particularly on Sunday, and cooler air too. We get through to the start of next week, and we're in this chilly northerly wind with high pressure out to the west. Through the course of next week, we're going to keep high pressure close to the south, which should bring reasonable amount of dry weather through southern parts of the country to the middle of next week, but low pressure will be to the north. That's going to give bouts of wind and rain to parts of Scotland through the middle part of next week. Towards the latter stages of next week, it looks as though low pressure will just begin to take over a little bit as high pressure weakens. So this is how things are looking by Saturday the 6th of October, for example. We have actually got an area of low pressure over the country now, so that's probably going to be bringing showers or longer spells of rain. Now, as we head up towards day 10, it looks like it starts to turn more and more unsettled. So this is day 10, which is Monday the 8th of October, as we're bringing wet and quite windy weather in from off the Atlantic, settling into a proper autumnal type pattern. And then in the extended range of this GFS, it does look really quite unsettled indeed, although high pressure has a go at coming back into the south, but certainly for the north it looks quite unsettled. And I think these areas of low pressure could be bringing some bouts of wind and rain there through that second week of October. This is how the ECMWF is looking. So again, on Monday, we've got this very chilly northerly wind as we go through into the early part of next week. We have this north-south split setting up. This is Wednesday next week, for example. High pressure is to our south, low pressure is up to the north. Into the latter stages of next week, just looks like it starts to turn gradually more and more unsettled. So this is Friday, a week away. We might actually be bringing some rain even down into the south towards the end of next week. And then in the more extended range, again, turning really quite unsettled indeed. We've got this deep area of low pressure out to the west of Ireland at day 10, as far as we can go with the ECM, Monday the 8th of October. That's bringing wet and windy weather in from off the Atlantic Ocean. And then finally, we've got the GEM. So again, we've got this northerly wind, bringing very chilly conditions to start next week. There's the north-south split through the middle of next week. Low pressure to the north will bring cloud and bouts of rain to parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. England and Wales looking mostly dry under that ridge of high pressure. In the more extended range, again, very similar to what the other models are showing, turning more unsettled. This is Saturday, 6th of October. Low pressure's over the top of the country, bringing wet and windy weather. And we keep it unsettled up to day 10, which is Monday the 8th of October. So we've still got this idea we talked about in the videos lately, which is that it looks like October will gradually turn more and more unsettled, especially by the time you get through to the second week of October. We could well be into a proper Atlantic bout of weather, period of weather, with bouts of rain, some quite strong winds as well. Just to say, if you've been enjoying the videos this week, then please can you consider becoming a patron for Gavsworthies and giving us a donation. So if you would like to become a patron for Gavsworthies, this is the Gavsworthies Patreon account. So you just come here and sign up for a Patreon account, and then you can give Gavsworthies an ongoing monthly donation. It can be anything as little as $1 a month. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of money at all. But by signing up for a Patreon account and giving a monthly donation to Gavsworthies, you will become a patron for Gavsworthies, and you will get mention in the videos. You get a thank you in the videos for becoming a patron for Gavsworthies. Alternatively, you can give us a one-off donation through PayPal. So you've got a PayPal account. It's very straightforwardly. You just sign into your PayPal account and then come to the Gavsworthies PayPal.me page. This is it. And then you just give a one-off donation, and you are helping us to pay for our website and keep all of the videos and the content completely free of charge. And again, you'll get a shout out in videos, you get a mention and thank you if you want. But if you'd rather stay anonymous, all you have to do is leave a little note with your donation to say you'd rather not get a mention, and we'll just sort of say thank you to this anonymous donor, something like that. So thanks to all of the patrons and all of the donors for Gavsworthies, and of course if you would like to become a patron or a donor, big thank you to you as well. So I think that pretty much covers everything. Just to say that coming up tomorrow, we've got the weekend forecast, and we'll have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days. But starting it all off tomorrow will be the first seasonal model roundup for the winter of 2018-19. So we get something like 10 or 11 long-range models together, see what they're all showing for the winter. First time that we've done that this season. So I think that'll be quite an interesting update, starting us off tomorrow at around 10 a.m. And then on Sunday, where we've got the big update, it's the 5th winter 2018-19 update, as well as all of the regular features that we have within the winter updates. This will be a little bit of a solar special. So we're going to look at solar cycles, we're going to look at the current solar cycle, number 24. We're heading into solar minimum, and we're going to see what the winters are like that occur around solar minimum. Does it favour a colder winter to be in solar minimum? You'll find out on Sunday. Right, don't forget to check out JMA Friday if you haven't yet done so. It's here on the homepage, so have a look at that. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.